Villains usually fall into two categories, evil for power and evil for fun. But every now and then, anime gives us something different. A villain who isn't really wrong, just dangerous. Someone who sees how broken the world is and decides to fix it in the most extreme way possible. You don't have to agree with them, but you can't pretend they didn't have a point. Whether it's a soldier trying to stop endless war, or a killer calling out fake heroes, these are the villains who weren't just bad guys, they were just the only ones willing to say the truth out loud. So today we're going to be breaking down some anime villains who might have gone too far, but were kind of right to begin with. To kick off the video, how about someone who knew one or two things about pain? Those who do not understand pain will never understand true peace. That line alone tells you what kind of villain Pain was. Not evil for fun, not chaotic, not greedy. Just a man molded by suffering, trying to force the world to feel what he felt. Naruto wasn't born a monster. He became one through war, betrayal, and endless loss. His village was caught between major powers. His friends died, his hopes shattered, and out of that trauma, Pain was born with one mission: end the cycle of hatred. The way he went about it, nuclear levels of extreme. Flattening entire cities to teach the world pain is kinda but at the core of it, he wanted peace. Real, lasting peace. He just believed pain was the only language the world would listen to. And the wildest part, his ideology actually got through to Naruto. That's how complex Pain was. Not just a villain to beat, but someone who changed the main character's worldview. That's next level writing. Another interesting part about Pain is how much he parallels Naruto. More or less, he's exactly what Naruto would have become, assuming he went down the more sinister path. I like its parallels like this in storytelling, as it really gives you a sense of what the world would become, assuming our Pain character went down the wrong path. Stain didn't want fame, he didn't want money. Heck, he didn't even want to take over the world. He just wanted heroes to actually act like heroes. In a world where being a pro hero is basically a brand, a sort of celebrity status, Stain saw a system where saving people was secondary to selling merchandise, and that actually pissed him off, as it would anybody. His whole philosophy was that if you're not willing to lay down your life to save others, you don't deserve to wear the cape, and rightfully so. Yeah, the guy was a murderer, no sugarcoating that, but you can't deny how deep his impact was. He literally inspired people, both good and bad, to revelate what they actually thought heroism meant. Even Deku and Ida came out of that fight changed. Stain didn't want to destroy society, he simply wanted to clean it up. Was he brutal? Yes, but he exposed the cracks in the justice everyone took for granted. That's not just a villain, that's a reformer. And he's arguably one of the best villains we have seen in My Academia, period. I would probably say the only villains that actually come close to him were the likes of All For One and Shigaraki. Hey, but if you want to help me out without having to go to extreme lengths, just like the villains we've mentioned so far, you can help me out by liking the video. I'm pretty sure if you've watched this far, you're enjoying it. And hey, if you want more anime content like this, how about considering subscribing to the channel? And let me know some of your thoughts so far down in the comments below. With that being said, let's get back into the video. Zeke Yeager, one of the infamous villains from the Attack on Titan series. Zeke is actually the elder brother of Eren Yeager. Zeke looked at the same nightmare Eren did and came up with an ultimate solution. Instead of the rumbling, the world ending flat, he decided the Indian bloodline simply needed to end itself. No more Titans, no more children born into hate, no more endless war, mass painless sterilization, genocide by empty cradle rather than actual crushed skulls. On paper, it sounds monstrous, and yes, it is, but peel back the horror and you find something heartbreakingly gentle. If we can't live free, at least let us stop passing down the suffering. Those were Zeke's words. That mercy twisted into madness. Zeke's tragedy is that he was a child who tried in vain to please every side. Grisha's revolution, Mali's propaganda, his own need for love. In the end, he chose the single path he believed could break the cycle permanently, even if it marked him history's butcher. So yeah, the euthanization plan is a nightmare fuel, but it's rooted in compassion warped by hopelessness. Zeke isn't chasing power or revenge, he's chasing release for everyone. That makes him one of anime's more disquieting villains. The guy willing to end an entire people so they never have to hurt again. And to be honest with you, I do understand why a lot of people don't like Zeke as a character, even more so as a villain. He is one of the most annoying characters in the show, to be honest, other than Gabby, that is. But yeah, it doesn't change the fact that bro actually had a point with where he was going with. He wasn't being a bad guy just simply for the sake of it. He actually had a solid and rational reason for doing what he did. Now that we have talked about his elder brother, how about to give some shine to Eren himself? Eren didn't start out as a villain. He was just a kid who wanted freedom. A world without walls, without titans, without fear. But once he saw the truth that his people were trapped not by monsters, but by the world outside, that dream got twisted into something more darker. Eren's chose genocide. There's no dancing around that. But the real question is why? And the answer? Because the world already chose violence. The moment Marley dropped Titans on Paradise, the clock was ticking. Eren saw a future where his people were hunted, enslaved, or either wiped out, and decided to make sure that the future never came. Was it a moral choice? No. Was it understandable? Honestly, yes. At least kinda. Eren saw that peace was impossible and that the rest of the world wouldn't stop unless forced to. And he took that burden onto himself, not as a hero, but as a necessary evil. He became the monster so the rest of his people could live. And whether you love him or hate him, that makes him one of the most complicated villains in anime. Not a power hungry, not brainwashed, not brutally painfully aware of what had become. He became a monster so the rest of his people could live. And it's actually kind of interesting in a way that the whole part of Rumbling, assuming you haven't caught up to Attack on Titan, I'm about to enter some spoiler territory, so you should probably skip to the timestamp that is currently appearing on your screen right now. So yeah, the reason Eren caused the rumbling wasn't simply to end the world. It was part of his bigger strategy so that his friends would end up killing him and bring a better name to the Eldians. That way, his people would be able to coexist with other nations, having been that they were the ones that stopped the world-ending rumbling. So yeah, whether you love him, whether you hate him, that makes him one of the most complicated villains in all of anime. He's not power hungry, he's not brainwashed, just brutally and painfully aware of what had to be done for everyone's peace. Now, down to our last character of the video, we have Askeladd. Askeladd might have looked like your typical selfish mercenary. He murdered Thors, he manipulated Thorfinn, playing both sides of every war. But underneath all that trickery and bloodshed, he was playing a much, much bigger game. The guy was half Welsh in a world where the Danes were busy conquering everything. He saw firsthand how power crushed the weak, how honor meant nothing if you couldn't survive. So what did he do? He climbed the ladder from within, staying alive long enough to influence the very kingdom that oppressed him. Askeladd's entire act, every betrayal, every cruel move, was to get closer and closer to Prince Canute and reshape the future. When the time came, he didn't hesitate to go out in a blaze of violence to make sure Canute rose up with purpose and strength. What makes him hit so hard is the fact that he never asked for praise. No big speeches, no look at me. Just a man willing to be hated to be the villain in someone else's story, so that something better could grow from the ashes. Askeladd wasn't just trying to survive, he was trying to steer history. And that makes him, at least in my opinion, one of the coolest and smartest and realest villains in all of anime. And it's actually very interesting if you think about it, that most of the villains I mentioned all of here today all saw themselves as a necessary evil. Not because they wanted to do bad things, but they had to do extreme things in order to steer the world on the right path. They were all willing to sacrifice themselves and their ideals in order to push the world in the right direction. At the end of the day, none of these characters were evil just to be evil. They were reacting to broken systems, endless cycles of violence, and worlds that left no room for peace. Yeah, their actions were extreme, some unforgivable, but their goals, freedom, justice, peace, and purpose. The scary part is that you can see where they're coming from, and that's what makes them powerful. Because the best villains aren't the ones with evil laws, they aren't the ones who make you stop to wonder, were they really wrong? Let me know which one you agreed with most. And if there's any anime villain you think actually had a point that I did not cover, drop it in the comment section. I'm all ears. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell so you do not miss my next video. Catch you guys in the next one. Stay blessed, stay safe, and peace.